Good evening. I hereby call to order the Board of Directors meetings of the New Jersey Transit Corporation, New Jersey Transit Rail Operations, Inc., New Jersey Transit Bus Operations, Inc., New Jersey Transit Mercer, Inc., and New Jersey Transit Morris, Inc.
Good evening. Please mute your phones and turn your attention to the public safety announcement. The audio's not playing. We can't hear the audio for the video.
Please proceed with the safety video.
Stand by.
So clearly, we aren't going to have a safety video today because there is an issue with the audio. So instead of waiting and holding everyone up, what I'm going to say to you is if you look to your left and right, you will see New Jersey Transit Police who always assist us at our meetings. First and foremost, please follow their instructions in the event of an emergency. Secondly, easily marked exits, green signs around the room. An exit to my, I feel like an airline flight attendant, exit to my left, 2 exits to my right. And the most I can ask of all of you is if there's an emergency, the most important thing you'll do is remain calm and follow the instructions that are provided to you. Thankfully, in my 5+ years, we haven't had one, and I don't expect to have one tonight. But in the case that we do, we were going to use that right now as our safety message for the day, unless I've missed something really important. Get it all in? Okay, there's our safety message. And with that, I would ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States, Republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice.
I will now take roll call. Board Member Brown. Board Member Carson.
Here.
Board Member Gordon. Board Member Medina.
Here.
Board Member Nara.
Here.
Board Member Thomas. Board Member Weiss.
Here.
Board Member Kana.
Here.
Board Member Giblin.
Here.
Chair Gutierrez-Scacchetti.
Here.
For the record, Board Members Doshi and Morocco are absent. Board members Giblin, Medina, and Weiss are participating remotely. This is a meeting of the New Jersey Transit Corporation and its affiliates and subsidiaries. Adequate notice has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and NJ Transit's enabling legislation. Notice was filed on April 13, 2023 with the Secretary of State and sent to newspapers of general distribution, posted in the main entrance of NJ Transit's headquarters, published on the corporation's website, and sent to each individual, agency, and organization that requested such notice.
Thank you, Megan. At this time, we're going to have two recognition events. The first is in recognition of James Adams. I'm going to read a resolution that has been prepared for James, but before I do, I am I'm honored to make this presentation. James Adams is a person of integrity. He has served this board with honor in his time as a board member. And James, I think you became a board member like the day before we shut down for COVID. And so James was one of our first appointments after some time, and then we didn't see him for a good long time, except on a screen. And so in that time, he provided valuable input. I appreciated him for his comments and for his thoughts, and certainly wish him all success as he continues his career in the engineering field, which obviously touches on transportation as well as many other things. And I'm just really, really pleased that he was able to join us this evening. And so before I begin, James, I would just ask you to stand and be recognized by all of us. And I'm going to read a lovely resolution to you. Whereas James D. Adams has been a member of the New Jersey Transit Corporation's Board of Directors since January of 2020, and whereas James D. Adams served as chair of the Safety Committee, and as a result of his leadership and guidance, he had an impact on advancing New Jersey Transit's safety philosophy and culture. And whereas James D. Adams has been an active member of the Administration Committee, Energy and Sustainability Committee, and has been a champion of minority-owned and small business enterprises. And whereas NJ Transit has benefited from James D. Adams' expertise, astute business acumen, and assistance in guiding New Jersey Transit in its mission to provide a safe and efficient transportation experience. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors, the President, CEO, and the employees of New Jersey Transit express their gratitude and appreciation to James D. Adams for his contributions towards making New Jersey Transit a responsive and reliable public transit agency, and wish him continued success and happiness. And James, if you would join us in the center, and if all the board members would join me in taking a picture with James. Thank you. Step to the left.
Now we're balanced.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. The next presentation is to someone who is very special to me, not just because he worked here at New Jersey Transit, but because I've known him since before the days of the consolidation of the New Jersey Turnpike Authority and the New Jersey Highway Authority. John O'Hearn and I met probably sometime in 2002. Is that about right, John? When did you start at the Highway Authority?
January 2003, so that February 2003.
So we've known each other a long time, just 20 years as a matter of fact. And John agreed to come over to New Jersey Transit and help us over here with auditing and principles that of good business management that I think have benefited New Jersey Transit. But John comes from a rich history of public service, with a dad who not only shared a birthday with me, not on year, but certainly on date, who had a wonderful career as a member of the New Jersey Supreme Court, who was a good and generous and honest man and compassionate, who we lost way too soon, and certainly had a lot of funny stories to tell me about John, and his mom, Barbara, who still is with us and is a lovely woman and who I have deep love and respect for. And so this actually starts out telling me that it's sad, John, that you're retiring. And actually, I'm going to tell you it's not sad. It is not sad because we all take this next step in our lives. We all reach a certain point, achieve a certain goal, and hopefully have the privilege and the benefit of enjoying a happy and healthy retirement. I know how John takes care of himself with working out and eating and all that, like his literally the same sandwich every day from Panera. Like not a change, right? Not a change. A man of great consistency. But I will miss John in the working environment, but I will always be John's friend. And that's the lasting part of this that makes it very important to me and very personal to me. And so with that, John, the staff has put together a lovely resolution for you as well, and I'm going to read it. It says, whereas John O'Hearn has been Auditor General of New Jersey Transit Corporation since March 2018, and his last day was March 2023. And whereas John has actively promoted the visibility of internal audit and its scope of services, which brought more value to New Jersey Transit and to internal audit, and being a trusted advisor. And whereas John O'Hearn has expanded the scope and content of materials presented to the Audit Committee, highlighted and reported regularly on the highest risk issues to New Jersey Transit, and increased the duration of the Audit Committee meetings to ensure appropriate time could be spent discussing important risk-related matters. And whereas John O'Hearn has implemented the substantial upgrade and transition to an audit management software, which brought greater efficiencies to internal audit's risk-based audit process. And whereas John O'Hearn has coordinated and executed the majority of the work authorizations for integrity oversight monitoring services consultants for the large-scale Sandy construction projects, such as long slip fill and rail enhancement, Delco Lead, and Raritan River Bridge. And whereas John O'Hearn has developed and delivered fraud-based training to internal personnel and external partners to support the construction projects in capital programs. And where John O'Hearn has led the internal audit department with the highest level of professionalism and collaboration, while being a friendly and supportive leader who others looked forward to working with, that has resulted in New Jersey Transit Departments improving operations in a more effective and efficient manner. And whereas John O'Hearn has led the effort to promote diversity in the internal audit department through his hiring efforts, and whereas New Jersey Transit has benefited from John O'Hearn's expertise, astute business acumen, and assistance in guiding New Jersey Transit in its mission to provide a safe and efficient transportation experience. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors, the President and CEO, and the employees of New Jersey Transit express their gratitude and appreciation to John O'Hearn for his contributions towards making New Jersey Transit a responsive and reliable public transit agency, and wish him continued success and happiness. And we mean every word of it. We wish you well, John, and we wish you to come forward too and take a picture with the board. John always has to comment on my hair.
She's got a great head of hair. We should all
For
be so
somebody my
lucky.
I'm not holding this. Thank you. I was with your friend tonight. And at this time, I would ask if any of the board members wish to make any comments to our departing colleagues. Board Member Gordon.
Thank you. I joined the board along with James. We were sworn in together, and I have to say that getting to know James has been one of the highlights of my experience at New Jersey Transit. He is a person who brought so much skill and intellect to the job. I mean, particularly in the area of contracting, where he has so much experience. That was, I think, just a great contribution to the board, and it became very clear to all of us that you're a person of great conviction and integrity. So it really was a privilege for me to serve with you. And for John, your work was just so important in the auditing function, and particularly for the board to know what the numbers are and know where there needs to be improvement in operations or in cost control and so on. So you made just an invaluable contribution to the board, and I want to thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to say this to John first. I echo all the comments made by Bob, and just say that I've found you to be the consummate professional and a gentleman and just a lovely person to deal with. So thank you. And James, Sangeetha, though she isn't here, and I think I can say on her behalf as well that it has been such a pleasure working with you. And we have learned so much from you, and conversations that we've had and questions that we've had on the board. When I joined the board, it was, I think, a couple months after you'd already been on, but you have a whole professional life related to transit-oriented organizations and projects. And so I so appreciated your mentorship during this. I really felt like you were a mentor along with Bob Gordon here for my time on the board. So I wish you well, and I know you are still going to be open for phone calls, so I will be reaching out. And I know Sangeetha would echo all the comments I just made.
Any other board members wish to speak? Hearing none?
Something.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
Alex,
ahead.
John, congratulations and best to you on your new chapter. And James, thank you. It was a pleasure working with you, although it was a short time working with you. But I do appreciate you talking to me, and your mentorship is very valuable to me as well. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Hearing none, gentlemen, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your now personal lives to be with us for a night meeting of the New Jersey Transit Board, and stay well and stay safe. We're going to move on to item number 7. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the March 13th, 2023 board meetings?
Motion, Nara.
Second, Canif.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Megan, please take roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Carson,
Yes.
Board Member Gordon,
Yes.
Board Member Medina,
Yes.
Board Member Nara,
Yes.
Board Member Weiss,
Yes.
Board Member Caniff,
Yes.
Board Member Giblin,
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Scacchetti.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Megan. At this time, I would call on President and CEO Corbett to present his monthly report.
Thank you, Chair and members of the board. Good evening, and good evening to all the members of the public joining us online. I would also just like to echo my thanks in the spirit of what we just said on the sentiments for the proclamations handed out to both John and James. A real pleasure working with both of them, and really appreciate their energy and commitment in their respective roles. I would start, as with previous meetings, moving on to the ridership update. NJ Transit ridership remains relatively steady system-wide since my last report in March, with an encouraging increase on our bus system. Overall, weekday rail ridership is fluctuating between approximately 55 to 75% of pre-COVID levels, depending on the days of the week, although we are seeing an increase in the frequency of days where ridership exceeds 70%. Many peak hour trains are at or near 100%, particularly on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Overall, weekday rail ridership remains at approximately 80 to 90% of pre-COVID levels, with many trains at 100%. Overall bus ridership system-wide is approximately 80 to 82% of pre-COVID levels. Interstate bus ridership into New York is again at approximately 76% of pre-COVID levels, and intrastate bus ridership is approximately 80 to 85% of pre-COVID levels. Many peak period bus trips are still at or near capacity, with some even above pre-COVID ridership levels. Light rail ridership is also holding steady at approximately 80% of pre-COVID levels. Our ability to accommodate bus ridership at or even above pre-COVID levels is a result of a Herculean effort both during and after the pandemic to attract and retain qualified bus operators in a very challenging market. We've graduated more than 1,800 new bus operators since 2018. It is also the result of purchasing and taking delivery of hundreds of new buses over the last 3 years, including 110 new articulated buses, the Arctics as we call them, that had capacity to meet the increased demand. These investments have paid dividends not just in our ability to accommodate our own increasing ridership, but to be nimble enough to quickly take on additional customers as well. We saw this clearly with the loss of DeKalb commuter bus service earlier this month with little advance notice. As I'm sure you all know, as it was widely reported last month, DeKalb announced that it would cease all commuter bus services on April 8th. And NJ Transit immediately began working on an emergency service plan to maximize alternatives for displaced DeKalb customers. As a result, on April 4th, we announced a plan, now in effect, that is providing bus coverage to approximately 85% of the former DeKalb customers. Beginning on April 10th, we extended 4 bus routes, the 191, 192, the 195, and 199, and designated the new extensions with a D suffix to be easily recognizable to DeKalb customers. Remaining customers are largely being accommodated by leveraging New Jersey Transit's existing bus, rail, and light rail services, as well as local municipal bus shuttles. A week prior to the service cessation, we launched an informational campaign to assist DeKalb customers in making the transition and created a webpage at njtransit.com/DeKalb to provide customers with a portal for all information on this transition. We stationed customer service ambassadors at the Port Authority bus terminal in New York the week before DeKalb ended service, and last week and this week to inform DeKalb customers of these new options, assisting them with their travels and locate new departure gates. Feedback from customers and other stakeholders has been overwhelmingly positive. I would really like to thank special thanks to Mike Kilcoyne and his entire team for all the work they did to develop a comprehensive emergency bus service plan so quickly. But I think it's important to point out, and Mike would agree, that we could not have executed that plan as seamlessly and successfully as we did without the hard work and help of so many others throughout the organization, whether it be in planning, IT, communications, customer service, government and community relations, and others. Really, thanks go out to everyone in the organization who make these kind of things happen. While I'm pleased we were able to mitigate a large majority of the impact for DeKalb customers, now New Jersey Transit customers, this is a stark reminder that the effects of the pandemic are still unfolding. And the fact remains that public transport providers nationally, including NJ Transit, are still contending with the lingering and not insignificant effect of ridership and revenue. As we have since the onset of the pandemic, we continue engaging with the broader transit community on a regional, national, and international level to share experience and best practices as we all work to overcome the common challenges. In fact, earlier today, I was pleased to attend this year's gathering of transit industry professionals at the 2023 New Jersey Transaction Conference in Atlantic City. While there, I met with both our North and South Jersey passenger advisory committees, as well as I was one of the featured speakers at the luncheon conference, where I provided a general update on our ridership, customer experience enhancements, and our major capital projects. And while it was good to be with so many regional professionals today, New Jersey has also been active with our international peers. On March 16th, I was proud to join leaders from Rutgers University's Center for Advanced Infrastructure and Technology, or CATE, as many of us know it, and UITP, the International Association of Public Transport, to announce the establishment of UITP's first North American Regional Training Center right here in New Jersey. This expands the number of UITP regional transit centers, which they have located in many cities elsewhere throughout the world, but this is the first one in North America. And out of all the transit agencies, roughly 120 members of UITP in North America, NJ Transit was chosen to lead this effort. Working together, we are bringing the best industry practices and world-class training, not just to transit agencies in the Northeast, but to agencies nationwide, providing access to a worldwide network of transportation leaders and scholars, and preparing the next generation of industry leaders. And all that is being based here in New Jersey at Rutgers. So for more information on this initiative and links to the scheduled programs, please visit njtransit.com/UITP. In addition to supporting our employees in advancing their training and development, NJ Transit also remains 100% committed to protecting our employees as well. Toward that end, last month, a Superior Court judge granted our request to suspend for a period of 1 year the riding privileges of a man who had been charged with at least 7 separate lewd acts aboard NJ Transit buses in the past 2 years. The ban is made possible by a law signed last year by Governor Murphy that protects transit workers from assaults and allows NJ Transit to suspend or prohibit offenders from riding on our vehicles or equipment. In a further commitment to our employees, NJ Transit used the opportunity of Transit Operator Appreciation Day on March 18th to introduce a marketing campaign that honored the operators and train crew members who serve the customers every day. Through our Say Thanks campaign, NJ Transit leveraged social media and signage to invite customers to express their gratitude to the men and women who keep our transportation system moving, whether it's on a train, a bus, a light rail, or access-linked vehicle. We were pleased to receive nearly 2,500 submissions from customers with message of thanks for our frontline employees. As part of our Say Thanks campaign and Transit Operator Appreciation Day, I would like to share a brief story from a board member, Evan Weiss, who witnessed an act of kindness by one of our bus operators that shows just how much they care about the people they serve. Last month, board member Weiss took a train into Newark Penn Station, where on the way he went to the restroom. There he saw a man in hospital scrubs sobbing loudly. Another man, wearing a New Jersey Transit uniform, was comforting him for more than 2 minutes. Board member Weiss introduced himself and met bus operator Ronald Moore, who went above and beyond his duty to help someone in distress. Bus operator Moore is one of the many unsung transit operators who understands their role as a public servant who puts our customers first. And I think his story represents the exemplary above and beyond service of so many of our frontline employees provide so often, day in, day out. This time we just happened to be fortunate enough to have one of our board members witness it personally. So thank you as well to board member Weiss for sharing your experience so that we could acknowledge Mr. Moore tonight. The new North American Regional Training Center I just mentioned represents just one of the many ways NJ Transit is working closely with Rutgers-Kate to develop people and technology, which leads me to my technology update for the evening. On April 6th, I was pleased to join members of our Capital team at the Rutgers-Kate Research and Technology Partnership Forum. Forum's goal was to advance and celebrate the long-standing and fruitful partnership between our two organizations. At the forum, I discussed NJ Transit's resource program, through which NJ Transit and Kate are currently working to advance 14 initiatives, many of which are on the cutting edge of public transit technology, not just in the U.S., but worldwide. One particularly interesting project we are tackling together is an issue that near and dear to many rail customers is a report of train dirty windows on our multi-level cars. And in fact, this is largely not dirt, but rather a complex issue involving polycarbonate train windows that can become cloudy over time due to exposure to elements such as acid rain, heat, and ultraviolet rays. Kate is helping us determine a cost-effective chemical treatment process exists to clear the windows and reverse that effect rather than having to replace them. This is the kind of issue that we can make a real difference in the experience of our riders, and I bet most of them have no idea that NJ Transit and Kate are working collaboratively to resolve it in this manner. Moving on to infrastructure, our largest active capital project continues to advance rapidly, and I'd like to invite you all to see this progress for yourself. In a new time-lapse video we just posted njtransit.com portal for our Portal North Bridge replacement project. In the interest of time, we won't be showing the video this evening, but online you can see video highlights of all the progress from September 22 to this month and the tremendous amount of construction activity taking place at the site right now. And as Portal North Bridge takes shape, another marquee NJ Transit infrastructure project continues to advance, our comprehensive modernization and revitalization of Newark Penn Station. For this item, I'm going to turn the floor over to our Acting Senior Vice President for Capital Programs, Rich Schaefer, to provide a status update on the continued transformation of Newark Penn Station. Rich?
Thank you, President Corbett.
So Newark Penn Station is a focal point of our larger projects that we're advancing. We're going to go through some of the improvements we've made to date and some of the next steps. There's a lot of good work going on at Newark Penn, and this is a good opportunity to highlight some of the improvements that people are seeing every day. Next slide, please. Here is a general map of the facility. You can see within it there are areas of, or points where we have made specific improvements that improve the quality of the station even as it stands right now, and this is without the larger master planning and major effort to re-envision the station, which is ongoing as a design concept effort right now. So, next slide. Since October 2020, we have had tours through the station with both the governor's staff and the commissioner and the president, where we have reviewed the deficiencies and highlighted areas that we could do as quick hits, make improvements that matter to our customers, to our riders, and to the city. I will not read this list in depth. I will show you pictures instead later, but by and large, these are simple solutions that made the station lighter, brighter, more welcome, more usable, and just more efficient to work every day. I will ask you to go to the next slide. You can see in these pictures many areas of minor sores and various complaints have been addressed. We have been very diligent in going through everything that, as small as a broken tile and a staircase, to completely gutting bathrooms and redoing them with modern stainless steel fixtures, with no touch accessories to prevent any germ transmission, which was done during COVID. We did an in-depth soft clean of the exterior of the station. All the soot and grime that had been growing over it for decades has been washed clean, including many of the historical fixtures. The station is on the National Register of Historical Places, so it matters to us to keep it light and bright and clean and in the best possible historic condition that we can. In addition, we've added new LED fixtures in the external areas to improve safety, make them feel more comfortable, and promote easier travel and wayfinding. Paving was recently done on the Market Street side and our bus lanes, which is noticeable for those who use the bus terminal. For reference, Newark Penn Station is a train station, but it is also our largest bus terminal in the state, with many lines passing through it every day. Quality of life improvements, as simple as air curtains over doors, so when people walk in the winter, they are warm, were taken care of. Lights were fixed, panels were fixed. The historic globes that were part of the original features of the Grand Ballroom were taken down individually and rebuilt with new LED high-efficiency fixtures and restored back to original condition with a conservator. Next slide. You can see here, I'll admit this one is near and dear to my heart. We removed the plywood Dunkin' Donuts from the Grand Ballroom and restored it back to its original condition as it should have been. Thank you. And you can also see in the background we are undergoing an extensive effort to restore the original walnut benches, which were inlaid with brass and celebrate the various lines of the Pennsylvania Railroad, which were installed as part of its original construction. Next slide, please. With that being said, the things that you can see and the things that you can't see matter as much. It is a fully accessible station. It is important to maintain its throughput. Over 14,000 people every day get on and off trains at Newark Penn Station, not including transfers. We are installing new chiller units. In fact, this was something that was brought up at a board meeting, I believe in October, where it was discussed that the air conditioning does not work well, but we have gone through and a contract is undergoing right now, which thank you for approving that, to go ahead and replace all the air conditioning. The historic wooden benches, not only in the main waiting room, but also on the platforms, are also being restored so that they are pleasant places to be. We are going to add elevator service. We're converting a freight elevator up to Platform D that will be ADA compliant. And we're replacing platform doors everywhere. For those of you who've used the platform doors, they are heavy and they are not in conformance with historic standards. They're all being replaced and they're all work. We also have interim improvements at Raymond Plaza West for traffic circulation and a more inviting atmosphere at the main entrance, which I'll talk about on the next slide. So here you see a concept. This is the Raymond Plaza side. I think of this as the Newark proper, the Newark business side, not the Ironbound side. One of the things that we have been working with as the station is to make it a place for people more than it is a place for cars. And this concept advances that. It is a trial that we're going to advance in terms of a traffic study, improve traffic flow through the area, make the place something that people want to walk out and enjoy Newark in. And we hope to be piloting this and having it ready for prime time soon to show to you. Next slide, please. In addition, the platform level where people get on and off is actually the business end of the station. For those of you who use Newark Penn Station, the platforms are kind of circuitously named. For those who use Track 5 on the Raritan Valley line, that is Platform E. Platform E was recently restored, and you can see the quality of the work with the ceiling repainted, the platforms repaired, the joints and tactile edges repaired, new lighting, new ADA compliant announcements. Platform D, which lies between tracks 3 and 4, will also be updated next. We have an FRA grant to do that. That is being advanced to 60% design. We will be restoring the ceiling, the skylights, the station waiting rooms on the platform level, tactile edges, and the various steel work will also be repainted to highlight some of the original steel work that is quite dramatic when you come down off Platform H, along with some dramatic lighting to highlight that as well. Next slide. The larger effort that we have going on is going to be the master plan. We are currently master planning out the station so that it works better, and we have designated a catchment area of approximately a quarter mile around the station. When this station was built, it was a cooperative effort between the Pennsylvania Railroad and the city of Newark to make it a city hub. Our goal is to make it that city hub once again, and we are going to try to find ways to encourage people to use the station, walk into the station, and people who use the station and come into Newark, we want it to be a gateway to the city and the state. You should want to walk out of that station if you're from outside the state and visit the city and see how great it is. So in addition, we also have mechanical works, concourse upgrades, and once that's done, we hope to re-envision the concourse level and the flow of the station throughout on that concourse level and make it more inviting. Next slide. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich, and I'd just like to say that it's great to be able to every so often to be able to highlight for the public some of the projects we're on as they're progressing. So I know this one is near and dear certainly to the commissioner and to the governor's heart. So thanks so much for the presentation. Just add for that, for regular updates on the progress at Newark Penn Station, please visit njtransit.com/icon. I'll wrap up today with a few uplifting good news items to help us usher in the spring season and warmer weather we've been enjoying. First, to encourage more people to choose NJ Transit and to keep our ridership momentum moving forward, NJ Transit launched a new spring ridership campaign. Beginning April 3rd and running through this Sunday, NJ Transit is offering several promotional discounts through our Take a Spring Break and Bring a Friend on Us campaign. Both new and current customers can save by using the promo code SPRING23 in the NJ Transit mobile app to receive a buy one, get one free round-trip ticket. For more information, please visit njtransit.com/spring. And as we do welcome this beautiful weather in April, it reminds us that Earth Day 2023 isn't far behind, being celebrated this Saturday, April 22nd. In celebration of Earth Day, NJ Transit is continuing its mission to advance sustainable transportation and environmental responsibility, aligned with one of our 5 overarching goals in our 10-year strategic plan, NJT 2030, through new and ongoing initiatives. One of those initiatives is the launch of our first ever bicycle, scooter, and pedestrian access survey, which will ultimately help us improve the safety and accessibility of our facilities, particularly for those who use such modes for their first mile, last mile part of their trips. The survey is online now through May 21st at njtransit.com/bikes. This Earth Day and every day, NJ Transit customers make a difference by choosing public transport as the best way of reducing their carbon footprint. I'll conclude my report this evening with what I really feel is a real heartwarming NJ Transit-led event for all of us who were involved. April is Autism Acceptance Month, and NJ Transit used this opportunity to introduce 3 new initiatives that will make our system at once more accessible and more inclusive. On April 5th at Newark Penn Station, I was proud to join Nadia Hamilton, founder and president of Magnus Mode, and Jonathan Trichter, CEO of Happy Hour for Kids, to introduce these new initiatives. First, we proudly launched Magnus Cards for Trains, a technology that significantly improves the experience for neurodiverse customers, including those who are autistic, on our rail system. We introduced this technology for our bus system last year in May, and it's been so well received and appreciated by New Jersey's neurodiverse community that we knew we had to expand the program to bring it to into our rail system. The app combines specialized instructions with real-world images to aid neurodiverse customers and anyone else who could use a little extra help navigating everyday experiences on public transport. Customers can learn more and find links to download the app at njtransit.com/magnusmode. Also, through our new partnership with Happy Hour for Kids, NJ Transit was pleased to invite autistic children from around the state to record announcements at train stations, which are now being played throughout our system for the month of April. For a real feel-good moment, I encourage you all to visit our YouTube channel for very special videos showcasing some of the kids recording their announcements. I'd like to thank Jonathan Trichter, the president and founder of Happy Hour for Kids, for generously sponsoring the wrapping of 2 NJ Transit buses now in revenue service with Autism Acceptance Month creative on it. We were lucky enough to be joined at the press events by some of the kids chosen to make the announcements, which helped really this to be a very memorable day, and really feel that we left that feeling that New Jersey Transit has really made a positive difference in the lives of these very special children and their families. I also heard, frankly, from many of our employees who said the event was really uplifting for them and really helped us remind why a career in public transit can be so uniquely rewarding. And with that, Chair, I conclude my remarks.
Thank you, Kevin. At this time, I would ask if there are any comments from the public.
There are 14 in-person speakers and 4 pre-registered telephone speakers, as well as several that are queued to speak. Speakers, in order to give everyone an opportunity to be heard, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Priority access will be given to in-person speakers. We will then take comments from pre-registered telephone participants, followed by any additional telephone participants who are queued to speak. Those participating by telephone, if you have not already done so, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad to enter the queue to speak. You will hear a brief tone to indicate you have successfully entered the queue. The first speaker is David Peter Allen, followed by Sally Jane Geller.
Good evening. One sentence on a personal note. I have a deep and profound respect for James Adams. I'm disappointed that he's no longer on this board. And now I'll continue with my report. I am David Peter Allen, Chair of ScatterTAC, the Senior Citizens and Disabled Residents Transportation Advisory Committee. This statement is an official report from our committee. Slightly more than 4 months ago, New Jersey Transit began the process of promulgating new regulations concerning the Senior Citizens and Disabled Residents Transportation Assistance Program, a grant program whose ultimate recipients are the transportation systems operated mostly by counties in our state. The proposed regulations would have limited our committee's purview only to that grant program, and we objected. We appreciate the board postponing that item so we could resolve this issue. Tonight, these rules are again before the board for approval, but with a difference that is vital to our committee's effectiveness and to its very survival. Tonight's document recites only that our committee operates under the Senior Citizens and Disabled Residents Transportation Assistance Act, authority that we have always understood and accepted. The proposal for Section 16:78-4.1b of the New Jersey Administrative Code has been amended to remove the language to which we had objected. That constitutes a major step in the right direction, not only for us, but for our constituents as well. The contested issue in the negotiations was the construction of the act, and we were able to demonstrate that New Jersey Transit has always allowed our bylaws to state a broad purview for us, from the first set in 1984 to the most recent in 2021. In other words, New Jersey Transit Management has always viewed the statute as allowing our committee a broad range of concern until a few months ago, and again now. As we negotiated with management, both sides displayed professionalism and an understanding of how our committee has worked through the years and the statute which governs it. The managers included Chief of Staff Justin Davis and staff attorneys and compliance officers Christopher Yu and Adam Phelps. I also want to thank Paul Wyckoff, Chief of Government and External Affairs here at New Jersey Transit, for help in keeping the process going. As we always have, we will continue to provide suggestions about issues that affect our seniors and our riders with disabilities, such as accessibility, funding for transit, connectivity, accommodation under the Americans with Disabilities Act, and service issues Because we are advisory under the statute, our only means of effectiveness is to use our collective expertise to provide such advice. We also welcome suggestions from you that could improve mobility for our constituents. We hope that the successful resolution of this issue will lead to a positive, mutually beneficial relationship between our committee and New Jersey Transit Management that will result in improved mobility for the seniors and riders with disabilities who we are here to serve and who will benefit therefrom. Many of those seniors and transit riders with disabilities, including a majority of our members, depend on New Jersey Transit and other transportation providers for all of our mobility. There are challenges ahead for transit generally, as ridership and revenue remain below pre-COVID levels, and federal aid for transit operations that was part of the COVID relief legislation will run out within the next 2 years, not only here at New Jersey Transit, but elsewhere too. It is time for all of us, especially our committee, to think about ways to keep transit going for those of us who need it, and we certainly would welcome your suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Sally Jane Gellert, followed by Ken Dolsky.
Good evening. I'm Sally Gillett, chairperson of the Lackawanna Coalition, and before I speak for the coalition, let me say as vice chairperson of ScatterTech, representing myself only, but in alignment with our committee's desire, that I encourage you to pass action item 230420 so that we may continue to work with all concerned to ensure that senior citizens and disabled residents who rely on New Jersey Transit and community transportation have the services they need, as the Enabling Act says, quote, so that they may obtain the necessities of life, including but not limited to employment, post-secondary education, social and recreational activities, shopping, and medical services, unquote. For the coalition, we share our fellow advocates' concern about relations between New Jersey Transit and its customers. We continue to strenuously object to the title of customer advocate, but still we see the advantage of a non-BUDS person or customer experience officer. We appreciate Board Member Nara's effort to hire someone independent of the bureaucracy. I read with interest Colleen Wilson's recent story about the legislature's effort to resolve the situation. However, their suggestion of a triumvirate appointed by the governor and legislative leaders makes this a political position, which again does not allow for independence, this time from the political machines that have recently been in the news for possible ethical violations. And the governor just signed an undemocratic bill that makes it impossible to investigate these allegations. On the budget, the coalition has been discussing New Jersey Transit's finances this state budget season, and we will have a presentation at the the Senate Budget Committee hearing later this month, which we will transmit to you as well. The governor's address was the last legal day. This presentation is also late. We again call for the dedicated funding for New Jersey Transit and would like to see the Gateway project's cost reduced, particularly by starting with needed repairs as we determine how riding patterns will settle in as we continue to recover from COVID. We will remind legislators, as we do those listening this evening, that the New Jersey Transit's mission is not merely to take people to and from office employment on a 9-to-5 schedule, but to, quote, provide safe, reliable, and affordable public transportation that connects people to their everyday lives one trip at a time. With that in mind, we call for a reevaluation of the full rail schedule. You'll get my details in writing. We're still opposing the transit grid along with the environmentalists. And in closing, I would like to invite the board members, staff, reporters, and other members of the public to consider joining the coalition and the Rail Users Network on Friday, April 28th at RUN's virtual conference, Good Connections, Why the Northeastern Rail Network is Important to the Entire U.S., on Zoom from 10 to 5 p.m., and that includes a transit tour the next day, Saturday, April 29th, from Newark to Brooklyn, and meet us at Newark Penn Station at 8:30 Saturday morning. There's still time to register.
Thank you. The next speaker is Ken Dolsky, followed by Elizabeth Ndoye.
Good evening. My name is Ken Dolsky. I'm with the Don't Gas the Meadowlands Coalition. On March 8th, we sent you the strategy report on their assessment of an alternative renewable energy-based hybrid microgrid for the New Jersey Transit Grid project. I hope you've all had a chance to at least read our letter and the executive summary. If you don't have it, see Megan. The report addresses the financial and technical feasibility of using a renewable energy-based hybrid microgrid as the power source for the transit grid project in lieu of a gas power plant. The report's resounding conclusion is that this renewable energy approach is perfectly feasible, will meet transit's power needs, and is in New Jersey Transit's best financial and social interests. Let me repeat that. This approach is in your own best financial and social interests. As managers and board members responsible for ensuring transit's financial well-being and responsible for transit's relationships with nearby communities, as well as being obligated to include climate change issues in your plans, you should find this report compelling and should demand an analysis before letting the transit grid project proceed. We have set up a meeting with Transit in the near future. Thank you very much to Paul Wyckoff to discuss these issues in more detail. Let me remind you of a few of the key benefits identified in this report. The renewable solution would be lower cost to build, operate, and fuel than the proposed gas plant. You have a fixed FTA grant based on a 9-year-old cost analysis. These costs have risen significantly. How comfortable are you that the grant will still allow you to build this project? The renewable solution would generate at least $16 million more in profit through 2050. In a high gas price scenario, profits from the renewable solution could be $127 million higher than those from the gas plant. Could you use an extra $127 million? That's over 8% of your budget. In fact, you face significant risks from gas price volatility that could result in over $42 million in losses if you proceed with the gas plant. The renewable solution will also provide $200 million to $360 million in social and environmental benefits through avoided CO2 emissions and avoided health and morbidity impacts from pollutants in Kearney and surrounding overburdened communities. The renewable solution would therefore result in total net benefits of $285 million to $405 million over its lifetime. You have a one-time grant. Using it for a gas plant means you will then have to transition to an unknown clean energy solution. This will intentionally add costs for which you have no funding, as well as increased risk and uncertainty. Those risks include dependency on currently infeasible fuel systems, unknown infrastructure needs, and unknown fuel costs and availability. In contrast, the renewable energy solution provides a long-term solution with technologies that are already proven commercially ready and can be easily upgraded as their efficiency improves. For years, we have asked you to include and request bids on a renewable energy-based microgrid. In your RFP, you have refused. If you won't do it for our health and climate, at least do it for your own benefit. We look forward to discussing this in more detail with you and hope many of you can join our meeting on April 28th. Just see Paul Wyckoff. We'll spend an hour. We'll talk about this project. We'll talk about the findings from the strategy.
Thank you. Next is Elizabeth Ndoye, followed by Ted Glick.
Before I begin speaking, I would ask that you read my shirt. It says it all. My name is Liz Ndoye, and I'm here as a member of Don't Gas the Meadowlands, Food and Water Watch New Jersey, and MoveOn.org. I am disheartened, distressed, and alarmed to be standing before you again after 2 years of talking with you about what I call your criminal plan to build what will be an outdated and highly polluting natural gas fueled power plant in Kearney. One would think you would be tired of listening to me exhort you to not build this plant. How many times can you stand to hear me call you potential harmers of the unborn, of the very young, of the immunocompromised, the ill, and the very old? How many times can you stand to hear me tell you that 7 million people every year die from the adverse effects of air pollution? How many times can you stand to hear me tell you that the residents of Newark, Kearney, Secaucus,
Jersey City, and Hoboken are filled with people from communities that Governor Murphy's own administration has identified as living in environmental justice sacrifice zones. How many times can you stand to hear me condemn you for proposing to dump on these communities with families just like yours, with children, with siblings, with parents like yours? We have offered and shown you the alternatives that are available to you. We now offer you, as Ken has just told you, a study, the Strategic study, that proves there are cleaner, greener, healthier, safer, more affordable, less risky, and more resilient alternatives. This report by leading experts in renewable energy shows that you can find enough acreage, industrial rooftops, brownfields, etc., to capture solar power to provide energy for a hybrid energy microgrid alternative. Yet you seem to still be refusing to seek the technological know-how and contractors to help you. Your latest RFP proves that you continue to seek only a natural gas-fired power plant to meet your resiliency needs. This dangerous polluting plant will hasten climate change and will not live up to the governor's goal of making New Jersey green and fossil-free by 2035. We invite you to meet with Mr. Wyckoff and Mr. Geithner and the members of the Strategic study team, and we say stop this plant. Wake up and follow your conscience, and guess what? You won't hear from me again. Say no to the Kearney Power Plant.
Thank you. Next is Ted Click, followed by Kenneth Hammond.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'll start by saying I'm appreciative of New Jersey Transit's efforts towards sustainability that President Corbett mentioned earlier, but like many of the other commenters today, I'm very concerned to hear about the plans to build a new gas-fired power plant. So I would like to urge the New Jersey Transit Board not to build this plant and instead use renewable carbon-free alternatives. The state can't afford the air pollution from another gas plant, and the climate can't afford another source of greenhouse gases. Climate change is impossible to ignore in New Jersey. Personally, a year and a half ago, when the remnants of Hurricane Ida came through, my county, Middlesex, experienced widespread flooding as unprecedented levels of rainfall caused rivers to overflow their banks. Friends who had never had to worry about flooding before saw their basements inundated. This also came on the heels of hearing from my sister in Seattle, Washington, experiencing days of unprecedented triple-digit temperatures and air that wasn't breathable due to nearby wildfires. I don't want to consign my community and future generations to a world where these sorts of disasters increase uncontrollably. We know that the only way to prevent this is to take decisive action now. The latest report from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change says in no uncertain terms that we have only a few years left to dramatically draw down our carbon emissions if we hope to avoid the worst effects of the climate crisis. Simply put, we need to be retiring existing fossil fuel burning facilities early and certainly not building new ones. We have the ability to secure a livable world for ourselves and our children, but to do so, it is incumbent on us to start treating the climate crisis like the emergency that it is. This means that we must take any and all possible measures to reduce carbon emissions. We have the technology today to generate electricity with no carbon emissions and without harming communities that are already overburdened. A recent study, as mentioned by other commenters, has indicated that the system's energy needs can be met with renewable energy and battery-based solutions. Please pursue these solutions, and above all, please do not build a new gas plant. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next is Kenneth Hammond, followed by Sam DeFalco.
That was Kenneth, right? I'm Ted Glick. I really couldn't hear very well, so I'm up now, right? Okay. It's good to be here. I'm Ted Glick. I live in Bloomfield. I've been a New Jersey resident for 25 years. I'm the president of 350 New Jersey Rockland and also work with the Don't Gas the Meadowlands Coalition. These fires over the last week or so, this is just the latest of just a continuing series of kind of new realities in terms of our weather and our climate. 1,000 acres up there in New Milford burned. Fires in the southern part of the state. This is what we're facing. This is our reality. And there are other examples. We hear them all the time now, all around the world, of what's happening to our weather as a result of the climate disruption caused by fossil fuel burning in particular, the primary reason. Also, there's very little rain. This is April. April showers bring May flowers. Where are the showers? There's very little of it. There's another very concrete example of what's happening to our climate and to the weather right now here in New Jersey. Ken Dolsky spoke very eloquently about the Strategy Report. I hope the meeting that's coming up goes well. I hope all of you will really take it seriously, have taken it seriously. Trying to look at things optimistically, maybe it's a good thing that that was announced publicly over a month ago. As far as I know, you all haven't made any public comment on it, and I hope that's because you're thinking about it, you're reading it, you're taking it seriously. It really provides an opportunity for you all to be leaders. You can be national leaders in terms of what's needed in this country. That's what we want you to be, and we want to help you be the leaders that the country needs right now. The International Energy Agency, not exactly the Sierra Club or some radical group, they said 2 years ago that in the industrialized countries there needs to be an end in that year, it's 2021, an end to any new fossil fuel infrastructure. And yet there are these 7 projects here in the state of New Jersey that are still possibilities. There's a lot of resistance to them. We'll continue to do that. And one of them is the power plant in Kearney. So I would just urge you, Mr. Corbett spoke about Earth Day coming up. This Earth Day, let's take the Earth seriously. Let's take the lives of our children and our grandchildren seriously and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Sam DeFalco, followed by Paula Rogovin.
Good evening. My name is Sam DeFalco, and I'm an organizer with the environmental advocacy organization Food and Water Watch, speaking on behalf of our members and supporters around New Jersey. I also wanted to speak on the New Jersey Transit Grid project, and specifically about the strategy report that we released along with the Don't Gas the Meadowlands Coalition last month. I really want to urge the board to take this report seriously and read it, and I really hope to see some of you at the meeting we're having with transit staff next week to discuss this. I feel like we've been at these board meetings month after month for what feels like years, and while it's great to have these opportunities to speak, we've really been having a one-way dialogue. In this report, it's not just something we put together based on our own research and our own opinions. This was put together, we had to do a lot of fundraising to pay for this. Was not cheap. This was done by expert renewable energy consultants who were able to run analysis and determine that, a renewable hybrid microgrid, which are solutions to energy being used, around the world, is a more affordable, more economical option for New Jersey Transit. And as Ken Dolsky spoke earlier, would save potentially hundreds of millions of dollars over the lifespan of this project. So really wanted to encourage all the board members to look at that report, reach out to us if you have questions. Please come to the meeting if you can make it, and if not, reach out and we'll be more than happy to schedule a conversation, because this really shows that New Jersey Transit can be a leader in this type of technology, which you wouldn't just have to use for backup and resiliency, but could be, run 24/7 to, bring clean energy into the grid and offset transit's power needs. Unlike a gas plant, which would, be spewing more pollution into the communities. And in light of the environmental justice law finally being implemented this past Monday, after many, many years of organizing to make that happen by the environmental justice communities, the last thing we can have is a new gas plant in South Kearney, right in the middle of one of the most overburdened regions in the whole country. So, again, hope to see you at the meeting next week, and please reach out with any questions on the strategy report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Paula Rogovin, followed by Kim Sevner.
Hi, I'm Paula Rogovin from the Coalition to Ban Unsafe Oil Trains and the Don't Gas the Meadowlands Coalition. On Monday, I was one of 8 people who got arrested in our effort to stop the construction of the Tennessee Gas pipeline and compressor station in the West Milford area, right near the reservoirs that provide clean drinking water for 4 million people. That could put our drinking water at great risk. It's in a forested area in the same town that saw recent wildfires. The arrestees ranged in age from 23 to 82. New Jersey residents of all ages also feel the same sense of urgency in stopping the New Jersey Transit dirty gas power plant. In addition to the impact on climate and the issue of pollution from a gas plant, putting people's health at risk in nearby cities and towns, there's another very serious issue. When you look at this map, which I'll give you for the members, thank you. When you look at this map, you'll see that Transit's proposed gas plant at Copper's Cove is inside the evacuation area zone and the blast zone of the CSX trains that carry hazardous materials such as petroleum products and vinyl chloride, the same material that was on fire when the trains derailed in East Palestine, Ohio. People in that whole region are at great risk and long-term risk from chemicals from that derailment and fire. Dioxin from burning vinyl chloride is the same as the dioxin in Agent Orange from the Vietnam War. It caused and still causes cancers and other illnesses and serious birth defects to the Vietnamese adults and children, and also U.S. soldiers and Marines and their families. In fact, my partner is one of them. He served in Vietnam in 1962-63 and has only in the last few years suffered strokes, Parkinsonism, hypertension, and more from his exposure to that dioxin. Why does East Palestine matter here in New Jersey? Building a gas plant in an area that already has toxic materials, in an area that is right next to the CSX trains carrying extremely hazardous materials, puts hundreds of thousands of people in Kearney, Jersey City, Newark, and other heavily populated cities and towns at great risk. The strategy report says that a renewable alternative would be cleaner and greener and more cost-effective, and it would certainly be much safer. Why is it that no one from New Jersey staff or Board of Commissioners has spoken publicly in opposition to the gas plant and in favor of a RFP that calls for renewable energy solution? Why has Governor Murphy refused to step in and demand that Transit keep the promise it made in 2020 to pivot to a renewable energy solution? We want to know we want you to know that we will do whatever it takes
Thank you. Next is Tim Sevener, followed by Jason Anthony.
Hello, Tim Sevener from the Transit Village of Mount Tabor and a board member of the New Jersey Association of Rail Passengers. And I'd like to thank New Jersey Transit for agreeing to meet with us again to reconsider the proposal we made a couple years ago, which we thought you accepted, about having a combination of solar, renewable energy, with only on-demand backup gas plant, which is what the Strategian study by professionals is showing is feasible. We already know that you can run trains with solar. Patco, going to Philadelphia, is doing it. They're doing it with solar canopies on their parking lots, and they also include some solar from the bridges into Philadelphia. There's no reason we can't do the same. I wonder why in the Newark train station refurbishment in New Brunswick and all these train station refurbishments, there should be solar canopies included and solar power. There's no reason not to. Let's get with the program. I do it at my house. I've had it for like 8 years now. Solar carport, only over our like 3 cars, and a battery that's like as big as this dais, 6 marine batteries. With my solar and backup, we have never lost power, even if the grid goes down. This is the reality. We have to move to the 21st century. The rest of the world is doing it. India is electrifying all of their rail. Europe is electrifying rail, which is another issue which is not in your capital plan about electrifying all our rail. There's no reason not to have the wind power coming from offshore Atlantic City to power the Atlantic City rail and have that be actually real 2-track functioning electric rail. It used to be 2 tracks many years ago, like so many other rail systems. It's time to move into the 21st century, like Europe is doing. Jack May from our board just took a tour in Paris. That they have like 20 new light rail systems. Where is our Hudson Bergen light rail to Englewood? I don't see it. Where is the light rail Glassboro to Camden? I mean, we've talked about these things for like 10 years. That's one of the frustrations that James Adams had with the board. He said, we don't have any dedicated funding. We have a budget. We're raiding the capital fund to actually operate the trains. It's time we actually invest in this. Now, myself personally, I think it's a great idea to take from Turnpike to have it fund the transit, because we have to get people off out of cars. Okay, that's it. I guess the other thing is 10.7 billion for the I-78 to Jersey City. No.
Thank you. Next is Jason Anthony, followed by Talia Crawford.
Good evening, Jason Anthony here. Once again, what a shame that Diane Cacchetti stepped out, because this month I came with an idea that your partners in the east side of the Hudson are in a fiscal cliff, that you guys should pay attention, because I'm proposing in their behalf that if you guys don't contribute to their congestion pricing proposal, we are going to ban your equipment in the Sunnyside yard. And this could be very, very bad for New Jersey Transit Rail Operations, Inc. Let's talk about accessibility. In Newark Penn Station, we don't see signage regarding accessibility alternative like the MTA has. because what happens if a person with disabilities or a wheelchair user is in a situation when the elevator breaks down? What that person is going to do. Another thing, Kevin, when you guys are going to have a customer service advocate that is not a politician, because let me tell you this, the MTA has one, Washington Metro has one, the MBTA has one, but you guys don't have one for over 5 years. What are you guys waiting for? Pigs to fly? I don't even think so. Another thing, the bush fires that occurred over 2 weeks ago created an inconvenience to Christopher D. Drive that was halted on an Amtrak train. Guess for how long? 8 hours. So let's do better, Kevin and Diane, that we could create a regional system for all the Northeast. So I'll see you guys next month.
Thank you. Next is Talia Crawford, followed by Doug O'Malley.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Talia Crawford. I'm the Advocacy and Organizing Manager at Tri-State Transportation Campaign. Tri-State is a nonprofit policy and advocacy organization dedicated to fighting for improved mobility, accessibility, sustainability, and affordability in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Thank you for the opportunity to speak at tonight's board meeting. With regards to the budget proposal transmittal, if we look ahead to fiscal year 25 and 26, New Jersey Transit has projected the need for a little over $1 billion. We will run out of federal COVID relief money by FY 26. The budget proposal also continues to raid $70 million from the Clean Energy Fund. New Jersey Transit is racing towards a fiscal cliff. Governor Murphy and the state legislature must act now to find a source of dedicated funding to sustain New Jersey Transit into the future. New Jersey has already lost $10 billion from the practice of capital to operating transfers to pursue preventative maintenance measures. And this has resulted in a loss of opportunity to expand service, redesign routes, electrify the bus fleet, and modernize infrastructure. If this budget crisis continues to be ignored, riders will inevitably be faced with fare hikes and service cuts. But transit agencies all across the country are facing the same issues. A fiscal cliff is unavoidable if we ignore the problem. New Jersey needs to lead by example to address the operating deficit to prevent devastating effects for riders. 44% of New Jersey Transit passengers do not own a car. 58% have household incomes below $35,000. And 80% ride the bus 5 times or more a week. Mobility is the greatest determinant of quality of life. Access to transportation means access to jobs, education, healthcare, essential services, seeing friends and family, access to life. Transit is not an optional service. It is a necessary utility that New Jersey must invest in like any other essential service. We fundamentally need to shift how we think about investing in transit. And balancing New Jersey Transit's budget should not happen on the backs of riders. Fare hikes and service cuts should remain completely off the table. There are countless ways to fund New Jersey Transit, and Tri-State knows that Governor Murphy and the New Jersey legislature is up for the task. So thank you again for your time and look forward to the continued work ahead.
Thank you. Next is Doug O'Malley, followed by Sid Madison.
Good evening. My name is Doug O'Malley, Director of Environment New Jersey. We represent more than 80,000 citizen members and activists across the state. It's an honor to speak to the board, the chair, and President Corbett. The reason why I'm here this evening, and also I'd be remiss without thanking the leadership and the tenure of Board Member Adams. Appreciate the award and appreciate his words to speak up for New Jersey Transit and for ongoing funding to New Jersey Transit and the ongoing capital operating raids. I wanted to speak this evening. First off, I just wanted to thank the multitude of organizations that have called on New Jersey Transit to not only read the Strategy report on the Transit Grid project, but to look at the facts that Strategy lays out and to commit to a clean, renewable energy solution. Today, the American Lung Association released their annual State of the Air report and showed an increase in particulate matter 2.5. It accentuates the importance to have a clean, renewable energy solution for Transit Grid. I wanted to specifically talk about something that is on the lips of many of folks in this room and certainly in the legislature and the governor, and that is the ongoing funding crisis for New Jersey Transit. Obviously, all of us know that the transit death spiral did not occur after the depths of the pandemic, and that was because of the extraordinary rescue efforts by the federal government. Obviously, all transit agencies across the country are facing the same fiscal cliff. New Jersey Transit is not unique in that sense, but it is uniquely vulnerable because of this lack of dedicated funding sources. You know, as economists sometimes say, you know, you get to see who's naked when the tide comes in, right? And New Jersey Transit is uniquely vulnerable because of this lack of dedicated funding. It's also important to know that the current budget, and I also wanted to thank the legislature and Board Member Gordon, who in his tenure as senator, called for the New Jersey Transit Reform Bill. That's why you have an agenda in front of you that has New Jersey Transit's budget. That's part of the reason why we're looking at the projections. And those projections are ultimately scary because those are showing that the fiscal cliff is not imaginary. It is upon us. And next year, in fiscal year FY25, it's more than $100 million. In F26, it skyrockets to more than a $900 million hole. That is immense, and you cannot make up that hole merely through service cuts and fare hikes. In 2015, it was roughly a $100 million hole. It came down to a $56 million fare hike and 3 bus routes that were eliminated. That almost seems quaint now. And that's why when you hear from strap hangers in this room, it is critical that the solution ultimately will not be solved here. It will be solved in Trenton by legislative leaders and the governor. And the governor and legislative leaders need to step up and not wait for that fiscal cliff. They need to come together now, use the budget cycle to ensure that we are actually talking about long-term dedicated funding. I just wanted to end my testimony by saying in literally the weeks before the pandemic, former Senate President Steve Sweeney and former Majority Leader Loretta Weinberg did propose a funding solution for dedicated funding.
Thank you. Next is Sid Madison, followed by Joe Clift.
Hello, Sid Madison from Piscataway. Can you hear me? I ask that the board and individual members communicate to Governor Murphy the need to immediately enact a moratorium on fossil fuel infrastructure projects in New Jersey. The system, i.e. governance worldwide, is not responding as needed to the climate crisis. That problem is also true of our federal government and New Jersey. We, you and I, are responsible for taking action in New Jersey. Since the system is broken, we must all act to overcome its failure. Thus the request I asked you to make of Governor Murphy, even though it is not in your job description. I make this same request of others, like my school board, my municipality. We all must act because of this failure. Why the specific request, i.e. the moratorium? Many reasons. Here are a few. The BPU says no more fossil fuel infrastructure is needed. Secondly, adding unneeded infrastructure will make the 50% goal of reduction in emissions by 2030 impossible. Third, in both the short run and the long run, not stopping these projects will be more costly to New Jerseyans. To recap, the system is broken and we all need to take action. That action is to request that Governor Murphy enact the moratorium. The moratorium will save New Jerseyans money. The moratorium will allow the possibility, not for sure, of reaching Governor Murphy's 2030 goal of 50% reduction in emissions. For my kids and my grandkids, make the ask of the governor. By the way, I recently added 2 heat pumps to do my 2 furnaces. Those heat pumps have a hybrid system. If it gets really cold, I have to use gas. A hybrid system can work. Do it. Tell the governor what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Joe Cliff, followed by the telephone speakers.
Do you all have my handout? Is that a yes? No, it's a handout. It's 1 page, front and back. No, by hand, right? Paper, right? Today, I brought them today. Did you get them? I'm just asking because I gave 12 copies to the.
We did not get a handout. We received it in email, so.
I gave 12 copies to your desk out here. Somebody could check, please.
Yeah, we will make sure the board gets them.
And the other thing is, the guy that's on the right, that's not involved in the meeting right now, could you give him a little bit of, I mean, just take him off the screen. It's sad for him to have to be up there. What's that? It's just, okay. I'm going to take a different tack on the budget cliff. It's a tsunami. It's not a cliff. You've got a $3 billion operating budget. You're going to be $920 million short starting in May, 2 years from now. You're going to be almost $1 billion short the year after that. And the only people I know that aren't talking about this is New Jersey Transit. The MTA is talking about taxes to, some new source of money, but I don't hear a peep. What you have today is a fairly clear statement of the future problem, but I don't hear any discussion. I don't think you're going to have discussion tonight, and there really needs to be that. So what I have handed out in paper and emails, basically, if you take a look at what I handed out, there has been no fare increase since July of 2015. Since then, the local CPI, the regional CPIU for New Jersey and New York has gone up 23%. New Jersey Transit's budget has gone up 27%. You cannot hope to deal with the future financial problems if you don't get the riders to participate with what's going on. And I would make the comment that if the later you wait to make a fare increase, the worse it's going to get. I ran an analysis. If you increase the fares 10% this July and 10% in 2 years, it's the same as a 43% one-year increase. As you don't do anything, you are walking into an even worse cliff. And my request to you is look at what I gave you and then initiate a 10% fare increase. Nobody wants to do it, but the reality is you need to do it. The governor said we're not going to do it. You have a fiduciary responsibility to this organization, to the riders and the taxpayers, to think about the future. Your financial people have put together the future. You need to act now. And that is a request by me. And if the governor doesn't like it, you don't have a fiduciary responsibility to the governor. You have a fiduciary responsibility to the riders, the public, and the taxpayers. And one last comment. In the 2018 bill that supposedly revised New Jersey Transit, and it did do some good things, it took out the word fiduciary from the entire act, which looks to me like New Jersey Transit people are not required to have a fiduciary responsibility, but you do. So look at the problem. The sooner you enact a fare increase, the smaller it can be and not hurt people. Don't wait for this tsunami to hit. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, we would now like to open the floor for public comments by telephone participants, beginning with those who pre-registered to speak.
Telephone keypad, enter the queue to speak. You will hear a brief tone to indicate you have successfully entered the queue. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes for their public comment. A warning will be provided with 1 minute remaining and again with 15 seconds remaining. There are currently 13 telephone speakers in queue, and the first public comment is coming from Andy Weiss. Andy, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Good evening. Another month has passed, and the NJ Transit customer advocate position is still vacant. Month after month after month, year after year, this incompetent board makes up ridiculous stories about the customer advocate vacancy. This board is cruel and sadistic. The customer advocate vacancy scandal continues. You are using a loophole in the reform law of 2018 that does not give a specific timeline to implement the customer advocate. Another thing I noticed that board member Gordon was nominated to the NJ Transit Board by the Honorable Senator Loretta Weinberg, and he says nothing about her reform bill that created a customer advocate. Bob never speaks up for riders that are demanding the customer advocate every single month. Thanks a lot, Bob. I want to tell board member Gordon that your silence about the vacant customer advocate is not a nice way to treat the person who nominated you. Another thing, I want to read a letter that I discovered from Diane Gutierrez-Gachetti, DOT Commissioner and Board Chair, to Senator Loretta Weinberg, dated March 2nd, 2021. This letter about the customer advocate vacancy was written 2 years ago to the legendary Senator Weinberg. Here's the letter. Dear Senate Majority Leader Weinberg, I am in receipt of your letter dated February 25th, 2021. To ensure that the role of the customer advocate complies with both the letter and spirit of the legislation, an updated draft of the job description is being finalized. The customer advocate will be accountable to the NJ Transit Board of Directors through the board chair, independent of the day-to-day NJ Transit operations and management structure. The intent to share the updated draft will be shared with members of the board on Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021.
1 minute remaining.
Once the job description is finalized, an advertising and recruiting strategy will be developed that most expediently maximizes the number of qualified applicants. While there are currently no candidates under consideration by the board at this point in the process, I fully expect that the board will have an opportunity to participate in the interview process once the pool of qualified candidates has been finalized. Sincerely, Diane Gutierrez-Gachetti. 2 years ago, to the Senate Majority Leader Weinberg, this was written. 2 years ago, we're still waiting. Where is our customer advocate? A bunch of people already asked about it. Where is our customer advocate, Board Member Nara? Where is it? I've heard story after story after story.
15 seconds.
What is Brian Wilton, the NJ Transit General Counsel, doing about this? You're not in compliance with the law. Where is he? Where is the audit committee? Where's Brian Wilton about this? He's the General Counsel. What's the audit committee doing? Thank you.
Thank you. And the next public comment is coming from Charlton D'Souza. Charlton, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, your line is live. You may proceed.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Charlton D'Souza. I'm the president of Passengers United in New York City. But for New Jersey, we are your customer advocate. We do care about all the riders. And I want to say how outraged I am. On Easter Sunday at Atlantic City, we were all in line for the 8:30 bus, and there were people who were in line. They couldn't get on the 8:30 bus because it was very crowded. And then 2 hours later, the 10:30 bus came, and a riot broke out. And the police had to come. People were fighting. People were arguing with the driver. A guy almost beat up the bus driver, and the police had to come. But what did the police do? All they did was take him off the bus, pull him to the side, and keep him there. It's not right to the riders, and I was outraged. And people could not even get on the 10:30 bus. These were the people who were waiting since 8:30. So guess what happened? They had to board the 12 a.m. bus along with me, and this is the 319 bus, 319 to New York City from Atlantic City. So you guys know during the weekends on Sundays, you guys are coming back to New York City. The schedule is like every 2 hours or every hour and a half. And that is unacceptable because going to Atlantic City from New York City, you have a bus every 30 minutes. So you have a lot of buses leaving New York to go to Atlantic City. However, coming back, you guys are running an hour schedule, and then you're running the buses an hour and a half on Sundays. And I would strongly advise you guys, this is not the first time that this has happened, where people have been left stranded. So what I would suggest to NJ Transit, on holiday Sundays or holiday Mondays, you guys need to have maybe a bus running every hour to tweak it, or maybe have the buses running every 30 minutes so that people can board the buses. And there used to be an overnight bus at 2 a.m. out of Atlantic City. There's no more 2 a.m. bus, and that's ridiculous. Now, I do want to talk about the River Line. So the River Line, the light rail, has been breaking down. Last Sunday, 4 trains broke down, as you guys know, and then it happened again. And the way the schedules are on the River Line, it's horrible. So on Saturday, let's say if you take the train to Trenton, I'm sorry, if you're taking the train from Trenton and you're trying to go to Pennsauken Transit Center and you're trying to make the 6:36 p.m. train to Atlantic City, what happens is because of the stupid switch, because of the switch over there, you can't make the train and you miss your 6:36 Atlantic City line connection. And the Atlantic City line is horrible. Kevin Colbert, you really need to have train service every hour, and that service needs to be running all night to Atlantic City. This is ridiculous. We spend so much money coming to New Jersey to benefit your economy, and we have such bad service. Unacceptable.
The next public comment is coming from Adam Reich. Adam, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Good evening. First off, I would ask Board Member Nara to provide an update on the customer advocate position. At last check, it did not appear there was a posting up. Where do we stand on that? When do you expect that post to be up? Are we still on track for filling this position in the spring, or do we have a revised timeline for it? Secondly, Board Member Nara, also, can we please specifically address the customer advisory board? This is something you know is near and dear to me. I've been waiting with 13 other people since Stuart Mader notified us of our selection in February 2020. You know, we've been assured since Stuart's departure that we'd still continue. We just need to fill the customer advocate position.
Excuse me, we're having trouble hearing.
You did offer to arrange a meeting for us to see what could be done, but I haven't heard anything from you since. Yes.
We are having trouble hearing you.
Hello?
You're very muffled. So I don't know if you're speaking too close to the phone.
Is this better?
That is better. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
It was your second point. I started.
Here, or is the clock still running on what it started with?
Adam, we're still having trouble. It sounds like you're kind of in a can. So maybe you need to dial back in. I don't know, but otherwise, if whatever you did in that moment, it worked fine. So just start with your second point.
Adam, can you please, you are connected. Please proceed, Adam, with your second point. Here it appears, although Adam's line appears to be connected, we're no longer able to hear him. So I move on to the next comment, and we'll bring Adam back in if he's able to reconnect. Once again, Adam, are you able to hear us? Please confirm, yes or no? We'll pause and we'll re-queue Adam and bring him back in if he's able to reconnect. But Adam, if you can hear us, you may need to disconnect your line and redial back in. We will move on to the next public comment, and again, we will bring Adam back in once he's able to reconnect. The next public comment is coming from Holly Cox. Holly, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hi, my name is Holly Cox, a 24-year New Jersey resident.
I'm here to ask Governor Murphy and New Jersey Transit why you're not redesigning your microgrid project to be powered by renewable energy, which the Stratogen report shows is technologically feasible, more economical, and better for our health and climate. What is your response to the new report, which shows that a combined system of solar, battery storage, and a backup gas turbine, only to be used in true emergencies, is a feasible alternative for meeting NJ Transit's operational needs during severe weather events? Will you revise your RFPs to specifically solicit bids for renewable energy hybrid microgrid solutions? Do you see the immorality and danger of adding more pollution from another fossil fuel plant to an overburdened community? Since Governor Murphy announced an accelerated target of 100% clean energy by 2035, do you think it makes financial sense to build a fossil fuel plant now? If you build your fossil fuel plant, when will it be completed, and how long do you expect to operate it before you need to start transitioning to clean fuels to comply with the 2035 target? How much do you estimate it will cost to convert your gas plant to a clean plant? Do you know the report found that a renewable energy system could realize hard profits ranging between $45 to $85 million from 2028 to 2050? Do you know the report found that a fossil fuel project could face losses of $42 million and only up to $29 million in profits over the same period? Do you know the report found that avoiding emissions from 2028 to 2050 by operating a renewable energy system instead of fossil fuels could save between $193 to $346 million in climate change impacts? Do you know reducing pollutants from your plant could save another $8 to $14 million locally in health and morbidity impacts? Where is your evidence that a gas plant is financially, environmentally, technically, or socially superior to a renewable hybrid microgrid? Do you see the climate chaos unfolding all around us? Stronger and more dangerous storms, damaging our property and killing our residents, extreme weather events, hottest days on record in all of history, NJ sea level rise at twice the national average, etc. Do you know there were 5 giant wildfires in New Jersey this week, with the largest consuming over 4,000 acres of our precious forests and wildlife? So far this year, the NJ Forest Fire Service recorded 518 wildfires that consume more than 8,000 acres of our forests as of Tuesday morning. For comparison, 327 wildfires burned 471 acres by mid-April 2022, and 2021 was similar to 2022. Have you seen the meme with the cartoon dog in a suit sitting in a room engulfed by flames saying, quote, "It's fine"? This reminds me of you and all our leaders. Our state and planet are literally on fire all around us, and no one is doing anything at the scale required to keep our planet habitable. Given the financial reality of a fossil fuel plant, the climate crisis unfolding around us, and the report that a renewable plant is cleaner, safer, more resilient, and significantly more economical, how do you justify a fossil fuel plant in 2023? I call on Governor Murphy and NJ Transit to live up to our state's climate and clean energy commitments, be real climate leaders, and stop this disastrous fossil fuel proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Your next public comment is coming from William McClelland. William, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Yes, my name is William McClelland. I'm a member of Don't Gas the Meadowlands. They volunteer with Food and Water Watch. New Jersey Transit must finally and definitively abandon any thoughts of building a gas-burning power plant in Kearney to power the microgrid. It is dumbfounding that you would now even consider this when you have clearly been given an alternative in the Stratogen study using renewable energy that would, 1, have greater economic benefit by generating much more in total value over its lifetime than a fossil fuel plant, 2, be much more reliable over the long term, as it would not be relying on the volatile gas market, and 3, and most importantly, have far less of an impact on the climate and public health. We cannot keep doing what we are doing to our environment by burning fossil fuels. It is almost insane that we have to keep saying this, but until it finally sinks in with you and those like you who continue to propose fossil fuel projects like this, we have to keep saying it. I'm sure some of you who have children, you have children or grandchildren and nieces and nephews who are going to have to live on this planet after you're gone. Do you really want to be remembered as someone that contributed to the climate crisis, the most serious crisis that human beings have ever faced? Wouldn't you rather be remembered instead as someone who fought climate change and did everything they could to protect their children's health and their children's future. I hope so. Please abandon any thoughts of building a gas power plant on this site. Do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. And we do have Adam Wright has reconnected. I'm going to bring Adam back into queue so he can resume his comment. Adam, your line is live.
All right. Good evening. I apologize for the technical issue. Where I'd left off after asking for an update on the customer advocate position was on the customer advisory board. I would remind the board or for those who don't know, there were 14 of us selected for a customer advisory board by the first customer advocate, Stuart Mader, in February 2020, and we were put on hold between the pandemic and now the ongoing vacancy in the customer advocate role. Board Member Nara, I appreciate in the fall you promised to see what you could do about a meeting, but I haven't heard anything on this since. Since there still doesn't appear to be a posting on the customer advocate, can we please get a definitive meeting? You know, can we have a Paul Wyckoff or Kevin Corbett make themselves available even for half an hour to an hour just to bridge this gap? You know, let us help us help you. You know, we can reach out to riders on your behalf. We can give you the things we're seeing day to day. It's why we were tasked to do this 3 years ago, and we've been assured to this point that we can do it since. Chair Gutierrez-Scicchetti, it's been 3 years. I'd appreciate it if you could weigh in on this too. Board members Nara, Gordon, and former board member Adams could attest to what I'm telling you. You know, I'd stress this is particularly important. You know, I had several New Jersey Transit employees troll me on a rail banding group recently because I raised the issue of bathroom accessibility. I'm fine with criticism. I would just ask for the opportunity to do what I've been waiting patiently for 3 years to do, and that's help the board, help New Jersey Transit address day-to-day issues. And, you know, there are 13 other people like me who went through an application process and want the same thing. Quiet cars, I do want to stress I have seen improvement on my own trains, and it's good to see New Jersey Transit social media team post about quiet commute, but you'll get a lot of replies on the posts noting that conductors aren't making announcements or posting signs. I would ask Operations and Customer Service Committee board members to request that staff give an accounting of those replies so the board has a sense of what customers are actually saying and how widespread the issue is. You know, much as we get reports on commendations each month at the Operations and Customer Service Committee meeting, I think it would also be a good forum for the Customer Advisory Board to then provide updates. Finally, I do want to thank Board Member Gordon for his support and assistance on the way. I disagree with Andy Weiss on that front, and I do want to thank James Adams for his openness and his kindness throughout his tenure as well. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Matthew Smith. Matthew, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you and good evening, members of the board. My name is Matthew Smith. I'm the New Jersey Director for Food and Water Watch, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of our 72,000 members and supporters throughout New Jersey. And I want to start just by echoing and reiterating all of my colleagues' comments before me about the importance of the Strategy study and what it means for New Jersey Transit and specifically the Transit Grid project and its future in order to avoid all of the harms and negative outcomes that people have once again so eloquently stated before this board as really conclusive evidence as to why New Jersey Transit must commit to abandon its proposed gas plant. And, you know, I wanted to just take the time of my comment to clarify, you know, our position here because I think as recently as a few months ago, when asked about the Transit Grid project, New Jersey Transit replied saying that it was still following the governor's directive and trying to maximize clean, renewable energy. Well, that's all good and fine to say those comments to the press, but where our concerns stem from is the original commitment that Governor Murphy and New Jersey Transit made is not reflected, at least in the way that it was presented to us in the new RFP. In fact, the new RFP is the same old pig of a gas plant with just fresh coat of lipstick on it. And that lipstick is really a false solution because it says, you know, it has all the same structure: the gas plant, Copper's Coke, central generating facility, all of the bones of the old project are in the new RFP. The only thing that changes is, you know, we're going to somehow make this net zero emissions, carbon emissions by
1 minute remaining.
And that is completely different than starting off with a new approach, an approach that is codified and clarified in a new RFP, or at least an amended RFP that says the new goal is actually developing today, not at 2050, converting a gas plant to somehow net zero emissions, but developing today an innovative solution that will power New Jersey Transit resiliently with a hybrid renewable microgrid, as the Strategen study has concluded is possible. So that is where our concern stems from, not from what the comments from New Jersey Transit staff and board are, but the bones of the RFP. And because we haven't had the stakeholder meetings that have been promised to us and that we started off having over the last year, we haven't had any.
15 seconds.
All we have to go by is the RFP, and that RFP is still critically flawed, and it signals to us that the gas plant is still very much on the table, and in fact, the option that Transit is pursuing. So we urge New Jersey Transit board members to join the stakeholder meeting so that we can all get clarity and enlightenment on how we can get this project back on the right track in light of the Strategen study. The time to act is now. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from James Crawford. James, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, James. You may proceed.
Okay. I'm calling on Governor Murphy and his New Jersey Transit to act on the findings of the Strategen study that Matt was just referring to, which demonstrates a renewable energy-based hybrid microgrid solution, which is both technically feasible and much more cost-effective. So New Jersey Transit must revise the RFP to specifically solicit bids for renewable energy-based hybrid microgrid solutions that maximize the amount of clean energy and battery storage that can be implemented today. And they must finally and definitively abandon the original gas power plant. Now, I'm just a resident of New Jersey. I'm retired now. I worked on Wall Street for about a quarter of a century. I happened to get involved in field directing work out in New York for some very high-level campaigns. So what we did there is we were looking and hunting for deferential individualists within the political system, and we got rid of them. So we don't want deferential individualists running the show because you will be confronting an irreverent collective. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Christian Noel. Christian, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Hello, my name is Chris Noel. I live in Fort Lee, and I'm a member of Empower New Jersey Coalition. The New Jersey Transit must revise the RFP to specifically solicit bids for renewable energy-based hybrid microgrid solutions that maximize the amount of clean energy and battery storage that can be implemented today. You must get over your fixation with a gas power plant. That's right, I'm calling it a fixation because it is so completely illogical. The Strategen report essentially proves a gas plant isn't the only solution and clearly not the best option. A gas plant would soon be obsolete and therefore a waste of money. It would have questionable reliability, and it would also be entirely unethical. The environmental justice law was written in spirit initially precisely for the purpose of preventing unethical projects like this from being built in New Jersey's overburdened communities like Newark, Jersey City, Secaucus, Kearney. And I want to step back and just think about the meaning of the language that we're using, because we use the words overburdened and environmental justice a lot. And maybe we stop paying attention to the meaning of those words. Overburdened means disproportionately burdened, and it specifically refers to low-income communities and communities of color. on the DEP's EJ map site, it mentions that, and historically, those people are subjected to a disproportionately high number of environmental and public health stressors. Okay, so it's those low-income communities and communities of color. You can go into the EJ map site and look at the exact stressors affecting every census block in those communities. And the state average for stressors is 13 out of 26. There's 26 total potential stressors. Adverse cumulative stressors means any number over 13. According to the DEP EJ map tool, the census block in Kearney, where the plant is proposed to be built, 21 out of 26 of the stressors, the combined stressor total, includes cancer risk, non-cancer risk for air toxics as adverse stressors. Directly adjacent to the north, the census block in Secaucus, 23 out of 26 is the combined stressor. 23 out of 26 of the stressors are adverse. In Jersey City, the census block directly across the river, 22 out of the 26 are adverse. And these stressors include ground level ozone, air toxics, and as adverse stressors. And I don't know how the EJ law is going to work. These rules were finally just released, but I don't see how this power plant could possibly be approved. You were proposing a gas plant that would add more pollution to New Jersey's low-income communities and communities of color that are already severely overburdened. There's no way around it. A gas plant would be shameful and unjust. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Brian Russo. Brian, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Great. Hello. My name is Brian Russo. I'm from North Haledon, New Jersey. I am a Climate Reality Project member of Food and Water Watch, and transportation chair of the Sierra Club. So I've been in New Jersey for 44 years. I'm a longtime customer of New Jersey Transit. I worked for 10 years as an insurance adjuster, and I work fixing cars. So pretty recently, or a couple years ago, I should say, I left my job and started spending my 401k when I realized that I would likely not make it to retirement age, be able to spend my savings, because I was likely going to die from catastrophic climate events. And I certainly will not be able to ride New Jersey Transit when I'm dead. I'd like to echo the opposition of the fossil fuel gas power plant and support renewable hybrid alternatives. I agree with everything that Paula, Ted, Sam, Liz, Holly, Matt, Chris, and everybody else had to say. I won't bore you with details of the IPCC report. I won't talk about how far behind public transportation we are from other countries and how I'm supporting the Maglev project. But, we need to do something different. It's obvious that many members of Congress fossil fuel industry, but I'm wondering, what does New Jersey Transit have to gain by building a fossil fuel power plant? Why is it that you want to build a fossil fuel power plant? I'm wondering what your ties are to the fossil fuel industry. We're climate advocates. Many of us are concerned about transitioning to electric vehicles because of the materials used. We would like to be advocating for public transportation, for riding bikes, but you don't give us that option because you would like to propose a power plant. It doesn't make any sense. Some of us are not flying, not driving. I want to be able to ride my bike, get on a high-speed rail, and travel carbon-free someplace else. Right now, I am not taking New Jersey Transit because of your unethical business practices and what you're proposing.
1 minute remaining.
So I'm asking that all of you publicly speak out against this power plant, ask Governor Murphy to issue a moratorium, and
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Ed Badow. Ed, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hello, good evening. I called previously, back in December. I had brought up that Mike Kilcoyne was not sending regional supervision to Cape May County to monitor the 552 line. Unfortunately, it hasn't improved. Drivers are still running ahead of schedule. And there was one run that was cut that wasn't replaced that I ended up having to walk home on. This kind of management just it discourages people from riding the bus. and it denies people the benefits that public transportation has to offer. And it just pretty much sends the wrong message to Cape May County. It sends a message that this is the way it is. We're not going to change anything. If you don't like it, ride somewhere else. And my question to the board of directors is, if this is the kind of message you want to send to Cape May County, I'd sure like to know why. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Rachel Davis. Rachel, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Rachel. You may proceed.
Great. Thank you. My name is Rachel L. Davis, and I am Public Policy and Justice Organizer for Water Spirit, a 25-year-old nonprofit sponsored by the Sisters of St. Joseph of Peace. Our founder refrained, Earth Day is every day, and I was hired to hear the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. We speak on behalf of our thousands of members, our sister ministries, and those specifically affected disproportionately by toxic air in New Jersey. Doug mentioned the American Lung Association's report out today. As I've shared with this board before, I'm tired of sharing it, toxic air is linked to suicide, and this is Stress Awareness Month. Such little rain is causing us stress. As Paula shared, New Jersey Transit recently flip-flopped from 100% renewable energy commitment on this microgrid project versus a source that would further exacerbate climate chaos, methane gas. We echo others in thanking and requesting all of you to join the meeting regarding the strategy report next week. We need to enable no more fossil fuel, and a moratorium on all toxic projects should be put in place. I've been studying the links of fossil fuels industry deception throughout our lives for over 20 years. We could have had a light rail planned back in 2004, actually, in this state, but Exxon wanted more roads. I have successfully educated Northeast communities as to dangers of methane in particular, and the copious amounts of fresh water used to create dirty gas. Water supply is dwindling even more now, 20 years later, and fires are now part of our weather patterns in New Jersey. And speaking before this board for 2 years now, I maintain steadfast hope in New Jersey leadership actually making decisions specifically with future generations at the forefront of your minds. You can do this. Be a leader. There are opportunities to create trust, inclusivity of people of all levels of accessibility, and economic efficiency by choosing not to pollute, by being a leader. New Jersey Transit Board, I'm not sure why there would be any effort to discredit reputable findings provided independently without cost or political influence to New Jersey Transit. Governor Murphy has national aspirations and media attention requires he actually walk his talk on climate. Why must New Jerseyans continue to breathe in toxic air, melt in heat islands, and live in raw sewage when it rains while he flaps about environmental justice? It seems like it's window dressing. There needs to be concerted planning from the ground up and moral budgeting. We call on Governor Murphy and New Jersey Transit, under Governor Murphy's leadership, will you act on the findings of the Strategy study, which demonstrates a renewable energy-based hybrid microgrid solution that is both technically feasible and much, much more cost-effective? New Jersey Transit and Governor Murphy, will you think of the children in your lives and abandon the original gas plant and declare a climate emergency? Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Jeff Rappaport. Jeff, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hi, thanks for providing this forum. I work with many different environmental groups. I'm here doing this because I'm a grandparent and I'm concerned what happens to children. Concerned about climate change, the likes of nitrous oxide pollution, other forms of pollution, sickness that is happening in much of New Jersey, particularly Hudson County, Essex County. When it comes to looking at these projects, you're in a fishbowl. You're in a unique position that you probably just look at the economics for New Jersey and the budget for New Jersey Transit, which in a sick way makes sense. That doesn't include significant costs for medical illness, disability, suffering. A lot of these costs come from the government because Medicare because that's where they're paid from. I've urged the use of renewables at many meetings. While not hearing much of a response, and I still haven't, I hope you maintain an open mind. I'm just one person, one active person. There are many thousands more of a more active person like myself in New Jersey, and also tens of thousands more that are pretty active. Somewhat active with this, but it's a key issue for them. I speak with the likes of others like me, not only in New Jersey, but in the likes of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida. I realized that today. They ask about New Jersey. What are we doing? How's the governor doing? Like me, they are actively political. Environmentalists. We're at a lot of primaries across the U.S. I want to be positive. Really do. We have a mission target set by Governor Murphy. He just accelerated the target to 100% clean energy by 2035 from 2050. How can this be reached by adding a new New Jersey Transit gas plant and other fossil fuel projects in the state? They're crying out for him to do something. These can't be done. You have your particular unit, your glass ball, but somebody's got to look at the total picture. Targets are useful, but it's the proof of the pudding is in the actions. New Jersey Transit, please have an open mind on renewables.
15 seconds.
Look at the total picture. Renewable is doable. It is doable. And you can't escape that. Those facts come out. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from George Coffer. George, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Hi, good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, George, you may proceed.
Okay. Hi, I'm George Calfa from the Ampere Alliance. We're looking for updates. I believe we had a couple of months ago, one of the board members had said that she was going to look and see if it was on the capital program, which I looked. I didn't see it. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope that it's there. But the other thing is with regards to the new bus service that's going to replace, well, that is replacing the camp service. It's good. It's a start, but there's definitely a lot that needs to be done. Along Belleville Turnpike, along the 199D, the camp used to pick up and drop off along that stretch, but because they were kind of like you would stick your arm out and flag the bus down. Now the bus drivers, there's no official bus stops along that stretch, so we ask that you work with the municipalities in question, with Belleville and Kearney and North Arlington, to make sure that there's stops along that stretch, because it's basically Ridge Road is at the top of a hill and Washington Avenue is at the top of another hill. So the areas down by the river, you have to walk uphill in the morning in both directions if you're going to catch the bus. So that's it makes it more convenient to do it. The other thing is the 92 is proposed to be extended to that area or rerouted under the new bus plan, and hopefully there will be bus stops for that route as well once to serve that area. But the other thing is too, I mean, there's 4 peak trips a day on that route, and all those routes really need to have off-peak service, reverse peak service, weekend service, and at a frequency of hourly or better, especially with the fact that the bus passes are now, unlike the camp tickets that were only good on the camp, the Jersey Transit bus passes are good on other Jersey Transit routes. Transfers are easier, but they're also cheaper. They provide for intrastate ridership to Clifton Commons. And the other thing is there used to be, even more routes that haven't been restored. The number 32 through Nutley, the number 88 to East Orange, those need to also be taken into consideration, especially given that, interstate ridership, those are where the essential workers are, that people likely can't, go to offices and everything that are going to, no matter what, need to take the bus. So we ask that you that you monitor the camp situation and make sure to get off-peak, reverse peak, and weekend service back as soon as possible, and all bus stops necessary, including on the outskirts of the thing, the 66, West Orange, all those areas that haven't restored service, that they should also have some kind of permanent service restored. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Jane Califf. Jane, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hello, my name is, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can, Jane. You may proceed.
Okay. Yes, my name is Jane Califf, and I'm coordinator of the Bloomfield Citizen Solar Campaign. And I'm here today to join with others urging Governor Murphy and your board to act on the findings of the Strategy study, which I won't repeat because so many others have told you how important it is for you to understand how this study showing that a renewable, clean energy source of energy for New Jersey Transit is possible and feasible and much more cost effective than a gas plant. I hope you will join the meeting that's been organized for you to understand more about Strategen and that you will read that report. One thing that amazes and outrages me is your RFP, as it stands, does not ask for bids for energy solutions that maximize renewable energy technology. You must revise, as others have said, the RFP to solicit bids for renewable energy-based hybrid microgrid solutions that maximize the amount of clean energy and battery storage. A fracked gas plant would add to the heavily polluted land, water, and air in cities like Kearney, Jersey City, and Newark, and the surrounding region, and it will add to the climate catastrophe that we face. Such a plant would add to health problems, which other people have mentioned, like respiratory, cardiovascular disease, learning disabilities, cancer, and other serious illnesses, especially among children. So my question for you is, why doesn't your RFP ask specifically for any renewable energy solutions? And I would like one of you, in the time remaining, because I'm not using up my 3 minutes, to give us an answer now. Why is there nothing in your RFP for renewable energy solutions? Can someone answer that?
1 minute remaining.
Nobody can speak on this? I mean, aren't we allowed to ask a question and get an answer, at least a short one?
You're certainly allowed to answer a question of the board, and the staff will respond to you after the meeting.
How do you do that? I mean, it'd be nice for everybody who's been sitting here for hours listening to this to know what you're thinking, because you don't say anything.
Ma'am, this is a board meeting. It is not typical that in any board that they comment from the dais on public comment. So it's not going to happen tonight either. But if there's a particular issue that you would like to address, you called into this number, you have our website, you can call New Jersey Transit and leave a return call number or an email address for the staff to respond to you.
Well, I think it's a shame that there's a rule like that, because we have a right to hear how you think about these things instead of just doing things and then we have to deal with it. Please, change your rules so you can talk to us. That's it. I'm done.
Thank you. And there are no further participants in queue to make a public comment at this time.
Thank you, public speakers. Are there any board member comments? Board Member Nara?
Pardon me, I had to turn on my mic. I'm going to address the customer advocate questions first. As to Sally Jane Gellert raised it, as well as a couple other people, and Adam Reich. Adam specifically asked for an update. So what I will say is the new improved, hopefully comprehensive job posting will be out shortly, very shortly. And in terms of where the plan is, we're still planning on proceeding to the next steps, which is as soon as we get responses and we get some credible, good candidates, we are going to interview them as soon as possible. It's my understanding that there are going to be board members who will participate in that interview process. If I'm participating in it, I've mapped out time from my job to make that a priority and get those people interviewed as soon as possible. As for the Stratogen report, which so many people have referenced, I just got it. I promise everybody I'm going to read it. I started to read it this afternoon. Many of you don't know, I'm an attorney in New York. I was sitting in a courtroom waiting for a case to be called, and I started to read it, and I very quickly realized how comprehensive and complicated the report is. Not so complicated that I won't be able to make my way through it, but it really requires some dedicated time for me to absorb it. I make the commitment to go through it. I understand all the efforts that were made by all the different activist groups and advocates to get this study funded. I'm very interested to read all of it because I know from comments many of you have made, you were relying on the experts that you retained, I guess preliminary reports you were getting from them about what this ultimate study was going to reveal. You have my commitment that I will go through it. I know you have this meeting planned for next Friday. I will do my best, but I will be at work if I can find the time to connect to the Zoom. But I will tell you this, I will listen, I'm not gonna participate, okay? So just understand that we have a commitment to the board too and our responsibilities here. I will absolutely, if I can, listen and take in what all you are going to give us in conjunction with the Stratogen report. Let me see. And then the other thing I'm going to talk about is because there have been so many comments about the issues with the funding for this organization. And so let me just say this. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but we have all talked independently, and absolutely, this organization needs dedicated funding. And I will tell you this, in the last couple weeks, I've had opportunities to interact with various members of the legislature, and I have said that. I think that this organization and the amazing people who truly work here in this administration in this couple years I've been on this board, I'm not a yes person. When I got put on this board, I asked the speaker if he was sure he wanted to put me on the board and he said he knew very well the kind of person I am. So I will say this to you with all sincerity. The people I've interacted with from transit administration have been amazing. And they are truly dedicated to the mission of this organization and to the residents and the customers. I really, really want to say that so you all recognize this is not an organization where people are blithely going about their day and they don't care. I need to say that. But their hands are tied and they're hamstrung in so many ways because they have not gotten adequate funding for all these years. And I will say to you all need to talk to your individual legislators and your representatives because they need to live up to their responsibilities as your elected officials to take care of this agency. And as you were saying, and I've got to go back. I take notes. But I don't think the solution for New Jersey residents are fare increases. I think the vast majority of people who use New Jersey Transit, I mean, there's some people who use it because of they want to participate in keeping our state and our world clean from more cars on the roads, and that's wonderful. But the vast majority of people who use the services of New Jersey Transit use it because they need to. They can't afford cars, they can't afford gas, they can't afford tolls. And so I don't think burdening those people with fare increases is appropriate. And I think that there have to be other methods, whether it's the Turnpike Authority or whatever it is. It's not our job to come up with a solution. It's the legislatures, and that needs to be done as soon as possible, because these people who work here want to be able to provide those services for everybody. So those are I'm sorry that I went on a little tirade. It's late, but over and over again we're hearing how we haven't made our feelings clear about dedicated funding. And there's a lot of people on this board who've made it clear outside of these meetings and outside of the boardroom meetings to the people who are responsible for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Gordon?
And I most definitely want to associate myself with the eloquent tirade of Board Member Nara, particularly her comments about staff and their desire to try to make this system work more efficiently and more effectively for our customers. I do want to focus my comments on the fiscal situation, which was mentioned a couple of times tonight. I do believe we are facing a fiscal cliff, a deficit of over $100 million in fiscal 25, rising to 917 million in fiscal year 26, because the federal money is running out, and we don't have that stable, permanent source of funding that we need. This morning, I happened to have the occasion to see the Assembly Majority Leader, and I told him about the meeting we were having tonight and what we were going to be voting on, including the budget transmittal, and the need for the legislature to find a solution. And I specifically referred to the proposal that Senator Weinberg and Senator Sweeney made just a few days before the pandemic came down on us, which was to make use of a portion of the corporate business tax to provide that funding. You know, another idea that I would throw out there, if New York goes forward with a congestion tax, which I oppose, but if it were to become a reality, I think a good portion of that should get allocated to New Jersey Transit. New Jersey citizens and taxpayers pay a large percentage of New York taxes, those that work in the city, and we deserve something back. And I think a portion of the congestion tax, if it's implemented, should come back to New Jersey. It would certainly investing in mass transit systems will help with the congestion problem. You know, perhaps there are other revenue sources that we can examine as well, but this needs to be a priority of the legislature, and it's going to be an issue that our new board members are going to have to deal with on their watch. And I'm certainly looking forward to contributing to the discussions on that. I'll end it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there additional board member comments?
At this time, I would call upon Board Member Giblin to present the Operations and Customer Service Committee report. I'm sorry, Noreen, hold on. It's Anna Marie Ganella Rosado, please, to present the Advisory Committee report.
Thank you, and good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and staff. The North and South PACs met earlier today in Atlantic City during transaction. President and CEO Corbett presented a system-wide update as he briefed the board tonight. He also noted promotional initiatives such as Take a Spring Break and Bring a Friend on Us campaign, the Autism Acceptance Month in April, participating in the Happy Hour for Kids Station announcement program, the launching of its first online bicycle, scooter, and pedestrian access survey, and Try Transit with a free round-trip ticket for the first 5,000 new customers through the mobile app using promo code EARTH23. Jackie Stanford, Deputy Treasurer, and Patrick Hartman, Senior Director of Budgets, gave a briefing on the budget. Presentation was made on customer-facing initiatives from Vaughn Williams, Chief Marketing Officer and Vice President Communications Customer Experience. The PACs continue to issue letters of support for the most recent round of New Jersey Transit grant applications, for which there were 7. As President Corbett stated, March 18th was Transit Appreciation Day, whereby New Jersey Transit celebrated the men and women who keep transit moving. Transit released an invitation for bid for critical state of good repair work to revitalize the Mawa train station. And regarding the action items this evening, the PAC support items 2304-18 and 2304-19, picking up option period 1 for provisions for access link services in Region 6 and 3, and 2304-20, proposed initiation of the rulemaking process for NJAC 16:78, Senior Citizen and Disabled Resident Transportation Assistance Program. And that's all I have to report, Madam Chair. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna Marie. Now, Noreen Giblin, Board Member Giblin, I would ask you present the Operations and Customer Service Committee report.
The Operations and Customer Service Committee received an update on trends, analysis, and actions for rail, bus, light rail, and access link. The committee also received an update on the cost of service. That concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Board Member Giblin. I'd call on Board Member Caniff to present the Administration Committee report.
The Administration Committee received a financial update. This included a summary of operating results compared to previous year's comparable period and fiscal year 23 budget, 12-month farebox revenue compared to pre-COVID, major balance sheet items, and federal COVID-19 relief grant drawdown summary. Additional information was provided as part of the agenda materials, including the cost of service, key performance indicators, 12-month farebox recovery, history of vacancies, attrition and hires, ridership and revenue, and a monthly budget to actual comparison for February 2023. The committee also received updates from Human Resources and Equal Employment Opportunity and Affirmative Action. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Board Member Caniff. I will return to Board Member Giblin to provide the Capital Planning Policy and Privatization Committee report.
The Capital Planning Policy and Privatization Committee discussed the following four board items. Execution of Contract 19-063, Option Period 1 for the provision of access link service in Region 3, which encompasses Atlantic, Cape May, Cumberland, and Southern Ocean counties. Execution of Contract 19-064, Option Period 1 for the provision of access link service in Region 6, which encompasses Bergen, Hudson, Passaic, and parts of Essex counties. Information Technology, award of managed print services contract to Document Solutions, and Transit-Oriented Development Advisory Consulting Services Task Order Contract. That concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Board Member Giblin. And finally, Board Member Nara will present the Safety Committee report.
Thank you, Chair. The Safety Committee was provided an update by the Office of System Safety on key safety performance metrics for rail, light rail, bus, access link, and construction safety. The Safety Committee was also made aware that the Safety Education and Community Outreach launched the program Special Seat in October 2022, which was designed to promote rail safety for children with special needs. To date, 46 special seat presentations have been conducted in the South Jersey region. SEP has also focused on the newly launched pedestrian safety program known as POP, Protecting Our Pedestrians. POP informs communities about the importance of pedestrian safety to avoid serious injury or death caused by an accident. NJT also provided an update about outreach, Narcan deployment, and the Citizens Police Academy. They also provided an update about the police graduates as well as the emergency service units graduations. In addition, updates were given on bus safe operation, in which officers went on 970 bus rides in the month of February. That concludes my report, Chair.
Thank you, Board Member Nara. We'll move on to action items. President Corbett, could you please begin?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to tee off. Thank you. I'd like to tee off with introducing Chris Trusillo, Senior Vice President, Chief of Police and Office of Emergency Management, to present Board Item 2304-17 regarding unarmed security contract. Chief.
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item number 2304-17, Unarmed Security Guard Services Contract. Authorization is requested to enter into a contract with Gateway Security Incorporated of Newark, New Jersey for unarmed security guard services for a 5-year base contract period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2028 at a cost not to exceed $49,356,831.97 plus 5% for contingencies for a total contract authorization of $51,824,673.57, subject to the availability of funds. We ask for your approval of item number 2304-17.
May I have a motion? May I have a second?
Second, Nara.
Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Megan, please take roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Board Member Carson?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Keenan?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Scacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. I'd now like to introduce Chris Carrazio, Chief of Contracted Services, to present Board Item 2304-18 regarding Access Link Service.
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item number 2304-18, execution of contract 19-064, option period 1, for the provision of Access Link service in Region 6, Bergen, Hudson, Passaic, and parts of Essex County. Authorization is requested to extend the contract with First Transit Incorporated of Cincinnati, Ohio, to operate Access Link service in Region 6, Bergen, Hudson, Passaic, and parts of Essex County for a 24-month period from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2025 at a cost not to exceed $38,146,669 plus 5% for contingencies for a total contract authorization of $40,054,002, subject to the availability of funds and board approval of NJ Transit's operating budget. We ask for your approval of item number 2304-18.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2304-18?
So moved, Kaniff.
May I have a second?
Second, Nara.
Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Megan, please take roll.
Roll call vote. Board Member Carson?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Keenan?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Scacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. I'd now ask Chris to continue with item 2304-19, similar contract for Region 3. Chris?
Thank you again, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item number 2304-19, execution of contract 19-063, option period 1 for the provision of Access Link service in Region 3, Atlantic, Cape May, Cumberland, and Southern Ocean counties. Authorization is requested to extend the contract with Easton Coach Company of Easton, Pennsylvania, to operate Access Link service in Region 3, Atlantic, Cape May, Cumberland, and the Southern Ocean counties for a 24-month period from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2025 at a cost not to exceed $11,013,952 plus 5% for contingencies for a total contract authorization of $11,564,650, subject to the availability of funds and board approval of NJ Transit's operating budget. We ask for your approval of item number 2304-19.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2304-19?
Motion, Nara?
May I have a second?
Second, Gordon.
Any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Megan, please take roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Carson,
Yes.
Board Member Gordon,
Yes.
Board Member Medina,
Yes.
Board Member Nara,
Yes.
Board Member Weiss,
Yes.
Board Member Caniff,
Yes.
Board Member Giblin,
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Sketchetti.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Great, thank you. I'd now like to introduce Justin Davis, Senior Vice President, Regulatory and Government Affairs, to present Board Item 2304-20 regarding rulemaking for scatter tap. Justin?
Thank you, President Corbett, Madam Chair, and board members. We are presenting for approval item number 2304-20, regulations, proposed initiation of rulemaking process for NJAC 16:78, Senior Citizen and Disabled Resident Transportation Assistance Program. Authorization is requested to take all actions necessary to initiate the rulemaking process for the adoption of regulations NJAC 16:78, Senior Citizen and Disabled Resident Transportation Assistance Program, consistent with this board item and Exhibit A. We ask for your approval of item 2304-20.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Carson.
May I have a second?
Second, Caniff.
Any discussion on the motion? I'd just like to thank the members of ScatterTAC for their cooperation in this regard, working closely with New Jersey Transit staff.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome. Hearing no other discussion, Megan, please take roll.
Roll call vote, Board Member Carson,
Yes.
Board Member Gordon,
Yes.
Board Member Medina,
Yes.
Board Member Nara,
Yes.
Board Member Weiss,
Yes.
Board Member Caniff,
Yes.
Board Member Giblin,
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Sketchetti.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Megan. I'd now like to introduce Bill Vaquera, Senior Vice President, Chief Financial Officer, and Treasurer, to present Board Item 2304-21 regarding managed print services. Bill?
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item 2304-21, Information Technology, Award of Managed Print Services Contract to Document Solutions. Authorization is requested to enter a contract with Document Solutions of Kenilworth, New Jersey under New Jersey State Contract G2075 for copiers and multifunction devices purchased, leased, cost per copy, maintenance, supplies, and managed print services for the period July 1st, 2023 through June 30, 2026 for the amount of $2,198,651.54 plus 5% for contingencies subject to availability of funds. We ask for approval of item 2304-21.
May I have a motion to approve?
Motion, Nara?
May I have a second? Second, Gordon. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Megan, please take roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Carson,
Yes.
Board Member Gordon, Board Member Medina,
Yes.
Board Member Nara,
Yes.
Board Member Weiss,
Yes.
Board Member Caniff,
Yes.
Board Member Giblin,
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Sketchetti.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Great, thank you. And for the last item from staff, I'd like to introduce reintroduce Bill to present item 2304-22 regarding the budget proposal transmittal. Bill?
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item 2304-22, budget proposal transmittal. Authorization is requested to transmit Exhibits A and B to the Commissioner of Transportation and to the President of the Senate, the Speaker of the General Assembly, and the Assembly Transportation Independent Authorities Committee, and the Senate Transportation Committee. We ask for approval of item 2304-22.
May I have a motion to approve?
So approved, Caniff.
May I have a second?
Second, Nara?
Any discussion on the motion?
Question? Question just occurred to me. We obviously have seen a lot of federal grant money becoming available this year, IRA and other major programs. Has our budget included funding for the state match? Are we able to match the federal grants that are becoming available?
So, Board Member Gordon, the state match generally applies to capital projects and funding, federal funding that relates to capital projects, so not for the operating budget.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other comments? I would sadly like to acknowledge that this will be the last board item that CFO Vaquera presents to us, as he will be moving on at the end of the month. So we would be remiss not to thank you for all that you've done for transit and wish you very well as you start your next endeavor. You will be missed.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's been my privilege to be at New Jersey Transit for the past 5 years and part of the administration and this team. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Megan, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Carson?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Keniff?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Scacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carried. For the record, Board Member Carson is recused from the next item and will not comment or vote on the item.
And so isn't it interesting why that is? So I am both pleased and honored to be recommending the approval of item 2304-23, the designation of Vice Chairperson of New Jersey Transit Board of Directors. This action item will designate Kiabi D. Carson as Vice Chairperson for New Jersey Transit Board of Directors and its subsidiaries. Some may say, you know, poor Kiabi, she's only been here a short period of time, and we're bestowing on her this very large task. But I believe that a thorough review of her resume, as well as a conversation or two with her, will make it very clear to everyone here that she will be a tremendous asset to New Jersey Transit, not only in a general way, but I think that Kiabi is going to be able to help us very, very significantly in the work we have to do in the coming months to streamline New Jersey's transit operations, to help us attempt to cut costs. I've heard everything you've all said. But this board and this agency has work to do of its own before it goes knocking on other people's doors, especially people who have already provided a significant amount of money. So at the end of the day, I believe Kiabi is a great partner for me to have as chair, for all of this board to have, and for the staff of New Jersey Transit to have. And with that, I will ask for a motion to approve the item.
Motion, Nara.
Second.
Second, Caniff.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Megan, please take roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Keniff?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Scacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Before we adjourn to executive session, I want to let the public know that we will return to adjourn the meeting only. No further business will be conducted. May I have a motion to enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters, contract negotiations, the status of pending and anticipated litigation, and matters falling in with the within the attorney-client privilege?
Motion, Nara.
May I have a second?
Second, Gordon.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Megan, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Carson?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Keniff?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Scacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carried. Oh,
We have a quorum, we can cancel the meeting without them.
okay, all right. Board Member Brown?
You're here.
Board Member Doshi? Board Member Gordon?
Here.
Board Member Medina? Board Member Nara?
Here.
Board Member Thomas?
Here.
Board Member Keenan?
Here.
Board Member Carson?
Here.
Chair Gutierrez Scachetti.
Board Member Giblin?
She's,
Oh, that's right, she's not here. I'm here. Since there's no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved, Canaan.
May I have a
Second, Nara.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries, the meeting is adjourned.
Good night, everybody.